of 138 again.
All right, through the power of radio, and as it's failing as we speak. Hello there, and welcome to the show. Let me push a button.
Sportcat's Daily Gazette, live across Australia.
Okay, let me push another button.
Broadcasting across Australia on Dare Media Group radio stations. This is the Sportcat Show, uncovering secret chapters, strange encounters,
and the occasional technical mishap.
And we're always used to the occasional technical mishap. And we are going live on Dare Talk Radio in Australia. Hello to everybody and welcome there. This is the Sportcat Show. I think we're live there. I'm not sure. This is the Sportcat Show. Welcome. Everybody come over and join our live chat under the Sportcat Shows. We've got a great show lined up for you tonight. We have two great guests, as always. And our first guest, I was pleasured to be backstage talking to him. And I have learned a lot from this gentleman, Bob Brill. He's spent a career in radio. He's written several books. He's covered the Olympics, and don't make fun of him, Chris. I see you're here. He's a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so don't give him too hard of a time. Everybody here, welcome Bob Brill. I know Chris from my chat. He's a Chicago fan. He's diehard. So, welcome, Bob. How are you today?
One of my best friends is from Chicago and a Bears fan, and he's also a White Sox fan, and I'm a Pirates fan. So he texted me the other day. He says, "Hey, at least halfway through the season at the All-Star break, we still have something to talk about as far as baseball is concerned."
Well, I grew up with the Baltimore Orioles, and after the Ripken family left, I had nothing.
Yeah. Well, I grew up with Stargell and Clemente, and now Mazeroski was my hero, and he just died recently. And I'm proud to say that I took him out for drinks, and he tried to pay for the drinks at the end after having 6 vodka martinis, and I said, "Are you kidding me? You think I'm going to let you pay for the drinks? You're my hero. All the pleasure you've given me over the years." I had my 2 sons with me, and he said, "You sure?" And I said, "Dude, I'm not letting you pay. I'm whipping out my credit card. I'll pay." So it was one of my claims to fame. So I took a major league player out to dinner, out for drinks. Let's put it that way.
That's awesome. Chris says he won't hold it against you that you guys are loyal. So
we are. We're diehards.
I'm
all 3 professional teams in our city have black and gold. I mean, how much more loyal can you get?
Oh, I'm with you. We had, don't cancel me, the Redskins. Grew up a Redskins fan. Now we have the Commanders. So, but yeah. I guess football was always my true love because Baltimore, we couldn't get we start off talking about sports. Baltimore, we couldn't get except on black and white channel on rabbit ears back where we lived in Northern Virginia. But the Redskins, we got perfectly. So and to this day, I would rather hear a baseball game than to watch a baseball game because I grew up listening to so many.
Oh, I'm the same way. I subscribe to MLB.com, and I'll be watching the game on TV. I'll have the in my ear. I'll be listening to the play-by-play broadcast. I love listening to the radio in the car. When I'm going to work and there's a game on. God, I love it. Don't tell me you're a Ravens fan, please.
No.
I was going to get up and leave.
No, I would have got up and left. No, I'm not.
Leave you with 56 minutes to fill by yourself. Yeah, I know you can do it, but I mean,
it's possible. But the Colts, they were okay, and then they packed up and moved to one night in the middle of the night, and that was kind of it.
I know. Irsay just took the team. Do you realize that the best all-time quarterback for the Baltimore Colts was a guy we cut?
Unitas?
Unitas, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, in the 50s, he came to Pittsburgh because he's from the area. He's from the
Mhm.
region. Matter of fact, and we also had Jack Kemp at the same time, and Lenny Dawson, and I forget who else we had. All basically at the same time, and they weren't impressed by Unitas. I don't know why. I mean, he did have kind of a funky move, but and they cut him, and he moved on to Baltimore. But yeah, he was originally a Steeler.
The rest was history. Yeah, yeah. That's great. No, I did not know that. The closest tie I have to Baltimore, I was a flight paramedic, and we flew in and stayed overnight in Pittsburgh. We stayed in Pittsburgh. Rocky Blair has a bar there, and we found it. The pilots were all sports fans. We found it, and we were like, "We're going to the bear, to the bar." And that was the coolest guy. He's, I think, Iron City beer. We drank that, and I mean, we just had a great old time. And I can't remember, there was somebody there, and for the life of me, it escapes me who it is. And then it was just a great time. So that's the closest I have to Steelerdom. So
Did you have an Iron City beer?
oh, yeah, about 12.
Well, the thing is, we're Steelers fans and just Pittsburghers or Yinzers, if you want to go there, are really loyal to Iron City beer. So much so that when I was in junior high school, in high school, I take it back. I was in the 10th grade, and I had a teacher, a biology teacher, who, yes, Bubby Brister, I know. Bubby Brister could throw a football through a wall. So, but anyway, I had this teacher, a biology teacher by the name of George Sarandos, and he was from Pittsburgh. He actually taught at the high school in Pittsburgh where my brother and sister went. And we would talk Pittsburgh just here and there. And my folks went back to Pittsburgh for a vacation. And when they came back, it was tradition. You had to bring back at least a 6-pack or 2 of Iron City. So I grabbed one of those, put it in a paper bag, went to school that day, and went to his, as he was getting ready for his first class. And I walked in, I said, "Hey, Mr. Sarandos." He goes, "Yeah, I got something for you." I handed him the paper bag. He goes, "Holy crap. I'll have this with lunch. Thank you. You get at least a B."
That's great. Rocky Blair, he was one that, didn't he lose his legs during the war?
No, he lost part of a heel, I think it was, in Vietnam, and he played after that.
Yes,
And
he did.
yeah, it was. I think it was a landmine or something. I don't remember all the details, but it was part of his. I think it was part of his heel, which made it so much more unbelievable that he actually played professional football as a running back. And he and Franco Harris, of course, were the tandem, and just had a great career. He's loved in the NFL, but he's really loved in Pittsburgh. So it was an amazing story.
His autobiography was that was probably like my 7th grade essay or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then going to the bar, that was why it was so special to me. And then I'm not a hockey fan, so I'll probably get this wrong. Gordie Howe, was he a Pittsburgh or was he?
No, he played for Detroit. We had Mario Lemieux and now Sidney Crosby. And of course, before that, in the middle, we had Marc-Andre Fleury, who was the goalie. They were the 3 number 1 picks that the Penguins had, and three, well, at least 2, and you could consider great goalies. Fleury was one, but Lemieux, and who's just a great man, a real gentleman, and also Sidney Crosby, who is pretty much the same. The 2 of the greatest players of all time. We had 2 of them, and but Howe played for Detroit, and then he played for the Arrows in the World Hockey League, WHL. Played with his sons there, actually.
Yeah, we were in, I want to say Boston, I'm not sure, and they were having a sports card, flight paramedic. They're having a sports card memorabilia thing in the I don't know what you call it, the hall, I guess, exhibition hall where we were staying. We overnighted, and I get into an elevator, there's like 2 bodyguards step in, and then like some other people, and the pilot was trying to get in and they pushed him out, and I'm just in the back of the elevator going up, and my phone's ringing. He goes, do you know who that is? Do you know? I'm like, I have no idea who this is. He goes, that's a great, I'm pretty sure he said it was Gordie Howe. It was one of the great hockey players. I'm like, okay, cool. And I guess they could hear me talking, and the guy turned around and looked at me and goes, so you're not impressed by me? I'm like, I had no idea who you were, sir.
Well, it was in Boston. It could have been Bobby Orr.
I don't know. It was somebody famous, and my pilot was raising hell because he was like, I should have been in that elevator.
So you went to a memorabilia show?
No, we just overnighted there. We would fly around. Yeah,
Right.
we would fly around picking up patients from town to
Yeah,
town.
I used to own a baseball card store in Ventura
Okay.
for about
Oh,
13
wow.
years. Yeah, so I was
Well, I haven't
technically one of those icons in the memorabilia industry. I wrote my own newsletter, and it was very well done. Very well thought of, and then I worked for a trading card company for a short period of time.
You're my hero.
Yeah, I've done a lot.
Convinced you're my hero. Now I have a bad experience with trading cards because when I was
What's that?
younger, you could send them off to the teams, and the teams would go to the locker room and go, hey, there's some fans, will you sign this? And if you had a self-addressed stamped envelope, Emmett Smith stole every one of my damn cards and opened a card shop in Pensacola. Cheap bastard. So
Not like he doesn't have enough millions to have.
exactly. We stealing from a kid for you, cheap bastard. So it's another reason to hate the Cowboys. But
If we get time for it, I'll tell you one of my great memorabilia stories about team signed balls. And if you want me to, I'll make it quick. A friend of mine used to be the Angels, and then later on, and he's passed away now. He was the clubhouse guy, and when he was with the Indians, what he would do is he'd put out 2 or 3 dozen baseballs every day in the locker room, and fresh baseballs, and the guys were told, sign them as before the game, and some of the guys signed them a lot, some guys did. He said he never had much of a problem with the Indians, except for Bertie Tebbetts, who was the manager, who just didn't have time, and the starting pitcher, which is kind of normal because they're usually out in the bullpen and fairly early, and they just don't take part. Sometimes they do. And Gabe Paul was the general manager, and Bill and I said, so Billy, who was your clubhouse signer? And he said, I was. And the clubhouse signer was the clubhouse boy, would sign some of the players' names if to fill out the roster on the baseball. And he said, I was. And I said, really? He goes, yeah. He said, but it was part of my job. And I said, really? He goes, yeah. He said, I'll give you an example. I got a call from Gabe Paul, general manager, up in the office, and he called down. He said, Billy, bring me up. We got some sponsors up here. Bring me up 3 autographed team signed balls. And he said, well, they're not all team signed. He goes, what do you mean? He said, well, a couple of guys didn't sign. I said, who didn't sign? He says, Bertie Tebbetts and Sam McDowell. He said, Billy, bring 3 of the effing balls up here and sign them, and then bring them up. And he said, so I had to. I'd lost my job.
that's great.
I had to think real hard before I finished that quote, because I know we're on radio. So
I'm with you. Well, I used to go here in Atlanta, the Braves. I used to go to spring training when it was at Disney. And it was always fun. I took the kids a couple years, and and it's not that far of a drive from Atlanta. So we would go down as a fireman. We get 2 on, 3 off, 4 on. How it goes. And so I would go down there and watch it. And I'm watching one of the games midday. I think it's even the second team, maybe. We're playing the Dodgers, and I see the security coming to clear out the whole row beside me. I'm the only one left on the row. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then this older gentleman walks and sits in the far seat, and I'm not paying any attention. And finally I look over. It's Tommy Lasorda. And what would happen was he would have kids come down. He would only take kids, and he would sign their stuff. And if a kid come up and he just said, here, sign this, well, it'd be to throw it at you. Here, sign this. He wouldn't do it. You had to say, yeah, please, sir, will you sign my blah, 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 blah. He had to be polite, or he'd he was like the baseball Nazi. And so eventually he started kind of talking to me, and I scooted the seat over and made sure I wasn't gonna get shot or beat up. That was probably one of the best joys of my life. I learned so much about baseball. I got to sit next to Lasorda calling a game from behind home plate, sitting right next to me.
Oh,
That
wow.
was so cool. And I got a, you probably can't see, it's on the shelf up there. And it was just a Disney baseball I'd picked up for the kids. I wasn't going to get it signed. And I said, sir, I hate to ask you this, but you're right here. And so he signs it and he hands it back. He says, I did you a favor too when you go to sell it. I said, no, this probably will never be sold. He said, well, if it does, it has HOF on it. I'm like, what does that mean? He says, that means Hall of Fame. And I should have clicked. He goes, that'll get you a couple extra $100 for it. I was like, it's been in the little holder ever since and sat right up.
Speaking of the Dodgers, you know what one of the most valuable baseballs is in memorabilia history and baseball history? It is a team signed ball, actually signed by the team members, all of them, of the 55 Brooklyn Dodgers. And the reason that is they had a guy on there in the clubhouse guy. I forget his last name. It's a long Italian name, but they called him Charlie the Brow because he had a unibrow. And he was expert at signing everybody's names. And very rarely will you ever find a 55 Brooklyn Dodgers ball signed by all of them. And the key to that, outside of him not signing anything, is and I don't remember the guy's name right off the top of my head, so I can't help. But you can find it on bb.ref.com. There's one player who only played on the 55 Brooklyn Dodgers. He didn't play for the Dodgers in 54. He didn't play in 56. They signed him in May of 55, and they released him at the end of the season. So he was only there for the season. And if his name is on it, and it's a team signed ball, it's a 55 Brooklyn ball. And that was the only championship they won in Brooklyn. That's why it's so valuable. But on top of that, almost always you're going to find Charlie the Brow signed somebody's name. Matter of fact, a former player, Chet Kane, I had a thing going as far as with a baseball and his daughter. We're disputing some things and we're trying to get to the answers. And Pee Wee Reese had given him a team signed ball in the locker room at the end of the 55 World Series. And so he gave that to his daughter. He had it all those years. And she wanted to sell it because she needed money for her son's college fund. And so you're ready to go to college. And they, if it was a team signed ball, it could have got several $1,000s, maybe 10, 12, 15 at the time. And so she brought it to me and I looked at it and I said, well, I have to check with an authenticator who I trust. And this guy used to be on the Athletics Roadshow, or the TV show. Antiques Roadshow. Yeah, Antiques Roadshow. And I sent it to Mike, and he sent it back. He said, it's all signed by Charlie the Brow, every single signature. And I had to break this to this lady that it was worth $20 instead of 20,000, and it was just really sad. And that's the sad thing about memorabilia today, is you do get a lot of that. And of course, we went through a period with so many bad autographs from the Marino family, but all that's a long story that we don't have time for. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, no, I could talk sports all day. I love it.
I could too, yeah.
And I'm determined you're my hero. You've had quite the career. So 16 books is what you were saying. You're working on one, but your latest is 5 Seconds to Die.
Yep.
And it's about a private investigator that, she's kind of adventurous. She's spunky. So wow. Is that a good word to use?
There is.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really not. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Casey Order, and is the private eye. Used to be a reporter, and it starts out kind of humorous, and it's based on an idea I came up with about trying to a bunch of gangs from around the world, mobs from around the world, decide they're going to hack the '88 Olympics here in Los Angeles. And she was the girlfriend of the lead mobster, an Armenian mobster, and who lives in Glendale, which is the big Armenian area of Los Angeles. And she overheard this plot, and she comes to this private eye and lays it out for him. Reluctantly, he, kind of goes along, and they basically find out that there's a thumb drive that has all the information in it, and it's the only one. It's been created by the hacker, and he hasn't duplicated it yet. And basically, they find a way to steal the thumb drive, and from there it goes on an international chase to get that thumb drive back. And that's the hackers are going to hack everything to do with the Olympics, including everybody who bought a ticket. And they're looking at about, I think it was $80 billion. I think that's what I said. And and of course, just destroy the Olympics and destroy all the businesses that are involved, because every business they figured out a way, anything that has any tie to the Olympics. And of course, that's all the major sponsors in the world, from all over the world. And they're breaking into everything and going to steal all this money and go off into the sunset. They only have to do it once. So that's the basic plot of the book.
Okay. How did you come up with this idea?
As a reporter and an anchor here at All News radio station KNX in Los Angeles, we've been preparing for the Olympics for a long time. And hacking has been happening for a long time, since computers were born, right? And I just was driving down the street one day, and that's where I get my best ideas for movie scripts or books. And I've written about 20 movie scripts. Haven't sold any yet. Maybe close, I'm thinking. But it just came to me, and I don't know if there was no story out there like this, but we know everything gets hacked. We'll get hacked. We'll get hacked someday. And we're going to be AI someday, AI'd. It just popped into my head, and once I started writing, it started developing itself. And I always wanted to do a film noir type book, and that's kind of where this starts out, even though it's present day. And Casey Order, and I have to tell you, Order is the translated from the word Odolo, and Odolo is where one of my grandfathers was from, small village in bigger village now in Italy, northern Italy. And so I try, when I come up with the character names, if I either use friends of mine's names or relatives, I usually get their permission. Sometimes I don't. I try to tie anything I can into something in my own history, and I think that I turn out to be in this book. Later than sooner, but I do turn out to be in this book.
I was going to say, are you a hero or a villain? I was going to say, if I had my choice and I was writing myself in a book, I'd be a villain. So they always have fun.
It's so easy. First of all, a lot of writers really struggle with names, and because you don't want to leave yourself open to some lawsuit. And it's really big in the movie industry. When you write a script, you kind of eventually all the names you have to that you use, you kind of have to clear, and if you use somebody whose name, which is almost impossible not to do, that's why you hear so many weird names in movies. You still, somebody could sue you, and, just for using their name or taking their name and making you look bad, and that's why a lot of times you'll have to get somebody's permission to do that. And that's all in the legal department. The writers just try to do it off the top. But when it comes to the legal department, then it gets kind of broken down. And it's like, okay, you got to, you know, change the name of this main character. Well, hopefully you didn't tie that main character's name into some of the plot lines where you have to rewrite the plot line. I mean, you could call them, well, whatever. I think you know what I mean. And it can be, interesting to say the least.
I'd never thought about that actually, but I guess you're right.
I mean, if I wrote a movie script, I could never call it the Sportcat Show, or I could not refer to Sportscat or Glenn Sportscat unless I called you up and say, how much money do you want?
I'm cheap. I'm just not easy. So, wow.
$5, $10, I gotta do it.
Yeah. Just give me just say something good about me. Oh, that's cool. That's funny because now that you said that, I interviewed an author and she was ex Google CEO, and she was writing a disaster thing in her new book. I don't think it's out yet. And she calls me and she wants some paramedic and firefighter tips. And then she calls me back and she said, can I have the paramedic nickname Sportcat? And I'm like, sure, have fun with it. And so I'll have to message her and see if I made the book now, because I thought she was.
Yeah, you need a check on that one. And I don't mean check mark. I mean a check.
Yeah, well, I thought she was just being nice because I gave her technical support. So
I produced a documentary called Shaken, the Great Sylmar Earthquake, because I grew up in Sylmar in Los Angeles area. And of course, 1971, we had the huge earthquake, which killed like 70 people, knocked down a couple of hospitals. And I was a senior in high school at that time. And when we filmed the documentary, we were fortunate that all the historical footage was owned by the government and it was public domain. So we used a lot of that. And I didn't have to create a character because I put out a thing on Facebook that said, we're doing this documentary. We want to interview if you're interested in being interviewed, because you went through the Sylmar earthquake, then just give us a call or respond to an email, and we'll interview you for the documentary. And we got, I think everybody but one we interviewed. We got probably 15 people that we interviewed. So, and the good thing is I didn't have to pay them because they volunteered to be interviewed for a documentary. And I'd be honest with you, several were friends of mine I knew from school, and some of them I had never met before. But it was one of those situations where it was cool enough that, the whole thing cost us almost nothing to do. And the interview room was donated, and we interviewed firefighters and earthquake experts and USGS people, and it's an hour. Actually, it's been seen in the Middle East more than here, actually. So if any of your listeners want to see the documentary, if you have earthquakes there, it's obviously a kind of cool thing. It's called Shaken, the Great Sylmar Earthquake, and it's on Prime. I think you have to pay for it on Prime. It's like a few bucks, and it's on Tubi, and you can watch it for free on Tubi, but you just have to watch commercials, which we get nothing from. So it's like, so, and how much did I make off it? A dime. That's when you have to deal with a distributor who, let's put it this way, they're being sued. People think they cook the books, and things like that happen. I'm not saying that. Don't sue me. But, it's out there. Anyway, I just thought I'd give myself a plug for that.
No, absolutely. By all means. And you've written several other genres. You've written, of course, about sports. You've written Westerns.
I've written 7 Westerns. And the plan is it's a series. The plan is to write 10. I haven't been able to get back to it because I'm involved in many other stuff. We're working on a sitcom right now. It's still in the very early stages. I've written a lot of movie scripts. Like I said, we haven't sold any yet, but there's a couple, I think for sure one that may be close. And I'm also kind of consulting on another, which if it happens to get sold, I'll probably get a producer credit, which is still a few bucks. I'll take that. And it sort of breaks me in. But there's so many different levels of all this stuff that, you just kind of want to get in on one, and hopefully that leads to the next and, the next after that. So, this Western series is called Lancer, Hero of the West. And then each different book takes place in a different place. And we call it, and I stole this from the Man from U.N.C.L.E. series back in the 60s. It's called the first one takes place in Prescott, Arizona. So it's the Prescott Affair. And the second one takes place in LA. It's called the Los Angeles Affair. And the latest one takes place in Virginia City. So that's the Virginia City Affair. But he works out of Tombstone, and he's good friends with Wyatt Earp and the Earp brothers. And it always starts out in Tombstone and dealing with Earp, and it's each novel, it progresses in a different episode in Earp's life as Lancer's friend. And eventually, because in every book we release a few more details about Lancer's past. We haven't released his name yet, but he goes by Lancer. And in the final book, we'll release his name and kind of wrap all that up. And that'll be book 10. But I got two more to write. Yeah, two more to write before that. Two. There you go. Two more to write before that. And I hope to get back to it after I finish this baseball book I'm writing, and clean up a few screenplays and move forward with that.
It's a lot of work. How do you sleep?
I sleep more than I used to, because I wasn't sleeping a lot, because I used to work 4 days in radio and 2 were not overnights. So I worked the weekends at KNX from on air 7 to midnight, but I've been there from 4 to midnight. And I spent a lot of time right here in my office in front of the computer. And my wife always kind of wonders, where I am. If she wonders where I'm at, she knows where I'm at. If I'm not at work, I'm here. And it's just, I love to create, and I've always wanted to create ever since I was a little kid. And a lot of those, I guess, bucket list things are moving forward now. I wish it had happened sooner, but it's starting to happen now. I'm hopefully close to getting my Italian citizenship, and which is something I've always wanted to do. And we're, unfortunately, I'm trying to get an appointment, and they're sold out for years. But hopefully I'll get a crack at it. All the paperwork's in and finished. It's just need to have that final appointment. And the movie stuff and the TV stuff and the books and so it's happening. Like I said, I wished it happened 20 years ago, but didn't happen 20 years ago. Hopefully I'll be around for the next 30 years, and maybe it'll happen before then, and I can enjoy it.
Well, we all do. I was talking to somebody about this earlier. We all do things when we're younger that we think are going to be different when we're older, if that makes sense. It's like I intended to stay in this spot because I enjoy it so much. But then when I got older, I was like, I should have went further while I had a chance, So, but you could. It's looking back. How much research goes into some of this stuff? Because it's got to be. I mean, obviously, as a reporter, you've got a great background, but how much research goes into this?
A lot. Well, let's put it this way: it's easier now. Before the internet, and before I even say anything more on that, everything you find out in research on the internet, you got to double check. You have to double check. And, because with AI and ChatGPT I've used for baseball statistics for this latest book I'm writing. It gave me wrong answers. And I was like, no, Pudge Rodriguez did not play in that many games. And then I have to look it up on baseballref.com, which is bb-ref.com, which is the greatest sports website in the history of the world. Anything you want, you can find there. And I looked it up there, and sure enough, it was different. And I trust that, and I don't trust ChatGPT. And so, obviously, a lot of research, but sometimes that research only takes a couple of clicks, or finding the website where I know it's accurate and double checking it. And so, as far in the old days when you had to go to the library and go find stuff there, and you had to do, get almanacs and everything. I do a lot of research, but I do it mainly as it comes up in the story I'm writing. And there are certain things I know ahead of time, which I need to draw a straight line to from chapter 1 to chapter 5 or chapter 6, and that I do a lot more research on ahead of time. But most of it, it's easy enough to do nowadays. I mean, the fact that AI can take a concept and an hour later have a 40,000 or 80,000 word novel written on that has done one thing for us. It's made it so we don't tell ahead of time, or we can't tell ahead of time, especially in a media forum. I have a fawning fan. Okay. We can't let people know ahead of time what we're working on or the concept, because somebody out there will hear it and say, I could do that. I'll just do it on AI, and I'll create it right now, and I'll have the book out, 6 months before the author does. And it's scary to think of it that way. Like, I know that if you ask me what the book I'm writing now, the baseball book that I'm writing, what it was about, I can't tell you. I can't tell you. I can tell you it's a baseball book and it involves a lot of research, but I can't tell you what it's about, because someone out there, a fawning fan or whoever, may hear what it's about. And if they're unscrupulous, take my idea and run with it. And I'm still working on the book, and it's already on bookshelves,
Wow.
So that's the scariest thing. And same thing with movie scripts, TV shows, all of that. It's changed the media world on both sides of the coin, from the people who have the shows like yourself to people who are on the shows promoting something or creating something like myself. And it's scary. It's really scary. And I hate to say it, but it's caused me to keep my mouth shut. I have to.
No,
About
I
certain
can
things.
understand.
As
Yeah,
you
no,
know, I can't keep shut on the show.
no, but I can understand that. But like you said, with AI, it can create AI hallucinations. I mean, there was a recent case, the 1st of June, where Reddit users decided they wanted to have the president die of rabies. They went and created a website for a small AM radio station in West Virginia, and they broke the news that the president got rabies from J.D. Vance, who had been on a hunting trip in West Virginia. Somehow ABC picked it up, and ChatGPT was like, president died June 5th, or whatever the date was, of rabies. It's like, what?
Yeah. I mean, AI is one scary SOB, really is. And and as much as I hate it, we've had to embrace it, because it's not going away.
No.
I mean, it's only going to get more powerful, and you have to embrace it to a degree. But, I'm going to say this, and a lot of people won't agree with me. It needs federal government regulation. It really does. And they will fight back with their billions and billions of dollars that the tech companies are making, and become friends of the people in power and pour tons of money in, getting them reelected and elected, that it's not going to go anywhere. And it's unfortunate. So, it's like I said, it's scary.
Well, yeah, having grown up in Washington, D.C., I know exactly what you mean by that. And this whole East Wing charade right now, I think they're, from what I've heard from my friends, they're putting a huge AI data center under the White House. That scares the living shit right out of me.
Yeah, it really does. Really does.
Um,
I'm not going to get into politics at all.
oh no,
I mean,
no,
you
not
can
asking you to.
probably feel where I stand, but it's you know, things happen and they shouldn't,
Yeah.
and people get put in office and they shouldn't, and I'll leave it at that.
No, no, no. I'm with you. No, and I'm not asking you to get into politics. I'm just saying. They and the government, like you said, they're coming out with all these orders and rules and stuff, but who's really writing them? And and that's what makes me think, is it the tech companies? Because okay, you have to pay, just for instance, if you want to put a beer in a ballpark, your Miller Lite, you have to pay to put your sign up there. You have to pay to put your lines in, your taps in. So it's just, it's a pay to play.
Yep.
And it's scary. It's scary. And AI, I'm not convinced that AI at some point in time isn't going to become sentient. And is that right? It's that it's going to start having emotions and feelings, and then it's really going to get scary.
In Japan last year, they had the first, I believe it's the first AI TV newscaster, and it was I didn't see it. We reported on it, and I'm sure it was fairly crude at that point. But today, it's probably you couldn't even tell. You might be able to tell just by the background or something. But that's going to get better too,
Mhm.
And it's the one thing that I think has changed our world more than, I don't know, maybe not more than anything, but pretty close to anything, and it's only going to get worse, And I I fear, I see generations now. I mean, I talk to younger people now, and don't ask me if they're Gen Z or millennials, but I think they're Gen Z, who this is the world they grew up with. They don't know the world we grew up with. They don't know the research we talked about, going to a library and doing the research. They don't know anything but this,
Yeah.
and it's it's frightening because there's a whole. I'm a history person. I consider myself an historian, and I love history. Have ever since probably the day I was born. I look back and the next day I said, "What happened yesterday?" It's it's just that I have a saying, be a student of history, not a victim of it. In other words, study history, learn it, know it in and out. Because if you don't, history's going to it's going to make you a victim.
Mhm.
And you're going to be victimized to where you're going to lose. You're going to be falling behind further and further and further. You have to know what history is. I mean, we repeat it, globally. We repeat it every 25 years. World War I, World War II, Vietnam, the Middle East. We're every 20 years or so, give or take, we repeat history. And it's because people don't learn history. They don't understand it. They don't embrace it. And, I mean, I think the only people that do are people that teach it, and not many more. But it's one of those things that, I've preached all my life, that you have to know history. I don't care where you're at. I don't care what history it is, but world history, especially in your country's history, and all of it, and whatever you're into. Baseball. I mean, I'm a baseball historian. I know that. I love it. But I'll get off my soapbox. So
No, no, no. You're right, and you're right. The time I graduated from high school, I don't know why this was, but we never learned about the Vietnam or Korean War in school. If you wanted to learn something, you had to go outside and do it. And I don't know if it was because we lost the war. I don't know if at that time the textbooks hadn't caught up, or but it wasn't until college I started learning. Like I said, I did do studies while I was in school, but we didn't physically get taught anything about it. And until I got to college, and I was like, how did we leave this portion? What happened? That's a pretty big thing. It's a whole generation,
yeah.
you know?
I
So,
mean, I lived through it. I was in the draft. I didn't get drafted, fortunately. I think I was the next to the last draft which would have been 71. I graduated high school in 71. Told you my age. And I was sitting in broadcasting school, and we're watching the numbers come over. It was a draft lottery, and they would come over with, I think, 10 numbers, 10 dates at a time, the date you were born. And they only took up to 78 that year, which was good out of 365. And my number came up 345. So I was ecstatic. Because Vietnam was winding down. We hadn't fled yet, but it was winding down. And we knew it was going to be over at some point. Nixon had made that commitment. And so, if you've never gone through something like that, I still have my draft cards floating around somewhere. I felt really bad for one of our guys whose number came up number 5. Fortunately, he didn't go. He was sole surviving son in a family. And so they didn't take him. And I met him years later. He worked for LAPD, actually, not as a cop, but a behind the scenes person. So, but we knew a lot about Vietnam then, and sure, we looked at it and we studied it. And we learned why the French got out and left us with holding the bag. It was a revolution for the Vietnamese people. I was just talking about this recently. I did a story on the revolution, our revolution, and I was talking to one of our editors who was in Vietnam, and the author that I interviewed said, he considered it like Vietnam's like our American Revolution. And I talked to my friend, our editor, about that. He goes, "Oh yeah," he said that was their revolution. They kicked out the French, and they kicked out other people, and then they kicked out us. And now Vietnam's a thriving country. We go there. People go there from here on vacation. And it's back to being the jewel of Southeast Asia, like it was before the French came in, or about the time the French came in. So,
yeah, but yeah, and what was weird growing up in Washington D.C., my high school spoke 13 languages when I graduated, and we didn't. Yeah, literally, I literally knew hardly nothing about it till college. Chris says the biggest victim, and bring this up here, the biggest victims are the people that think they are too intelligent to let that happen to them. What they don't know is every victim before them thought the exact same thing. Yeah.
Pretty much true. Yeah.
Yeah, he's right.
Yep.
Out of all the genres you've written, is there one genre in particular that you'd kind of like to write or haven't done, or have you kind of stuck to what you're really most happy with?
Well, funny you should ask that. I'm working in a horror script the first time in my life, okay, on a feature film script. And I may, once I get caught up on the books and everything, I may write a horror script, maybe based on the same story. And it's not going to be Stephen King, but it is going to be interesting. And the script I haven't written yet. The synopsis is there, and I'm actually working, consulting a former big producer, a friend of mine, who has written a screenplay. It's a horror script. He's had produced scripts before, and a TV show. But we were talking, and he wanted me to analyze one of his scripts, and I did, and he was impressed, and I was shocked he was impressed, but now I'll take that. And I told him about my script, and he loved the idea. I can't say anything more than that, unfortunately. Sure. But let's leave it to answer your question. Horror, and I've never even attempted it before.
Well, that's interesting, because that's quite different than sports and westerns. So.
It sells. It's cheap to make, and it sells. And so many people have made it on their own with horror, and they make a lot of money, and they're easy to do, and they're cheap. And you can do it yourself. Sometimes they're made on iPhones, and they still get sold. So,
yeah. I had a author on one time, not long ago actually, and said when they get desperate for money, they have a pen name where they write adult literature. And I took I was like, wait a minute, hold on. They're like, yes, that's exactly what you're thinking. It's just like, it sells. I'm like, really? So, and the weird part was, it was paranormal porn. I was like,
Here we go.
I almost
I've been
want to
waiting
check into
for
this. Well, I'm not going to ask if you have any porn stories. You are in California, but I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No,
It's
I
a
did.
big society.
Well, I did have Vic Legina on. He wrote his autobiography. He was the producer for more porn movies in the industry than anyone. It was a 2-hour interview, and I just let him talk. But asking about porn, because we can't keep you here all night long, I'm just going to switch it to the paranormal and away from the porn.
There you go.
Have you ever had any paranormal experiences? Seen big?
Well, it's funny you should ask. I
Uh-oh.
was thinking about this because I know you do ask this question. And back in '98, I vacationed in London. We took a trip there. And it was interesting. I was walking through Soho. Just came from a Chinese restaurant. And walking through Soho, and I saw the Queen. She was walking with Lon Chaney Jr. And I thought to myself, this is weird. He's been dead for 20 years. Then I saw the Queen walking through the streets of Soho, and she was with Lon Chaney, the father. And I knew he'd been dead for 40 years, And I thought about it, and I thought, wait a second, this is really weird. So there I was, and I looked at this person, and I realized it was a werewolf. Here I am walking the streets of London in Kent, with a werewolf, and he looks at me, and his eyes lit up. Had this perfect hair, right? Eyes lit up. He's wearing a tuxedo, and he starts chasing me. I just turned around and ran, and I ran and ran and ran. And he's chasing me. He's chasing me through Soho. He's chasing me through Mayfair. He chased me into Kent. Believe it or not, he chased me into Kent, and he lunged at me, and he tackled me. And I'm kicking my feet, and he's holding onto my legs and just pulling and pulling and pulling, and he's pulling my legs just like I'm pulling yours right now.
I've done this for 3 years, asking this question, and I got to say, that's the best. I mean, you had it all. If you'd have had somebody come from behind your green screen with a mask. Oh my God, that was great. At first I was like, wait a minute, where's he going with this? Oh, wait a minute here. Oh, that is great.
I couldn't wait to spring that on you.
This is why you have so much talent there. I'm going to ask you to write songs someday.
I've written 2.
Really?
I have, yeah. I'm not very good at it, but for my podcast, we did a podcast called Major League Stripper, and it's basically based on my book, fan letters to a stripper, and it's we did an audio podcast. It's about 2 hours long, but we also did cut it up into segments, and you can find it at majorleaguestripper.com, and it's on YouTube. And basically what it is, it's the semi-fictional story of a stripper by the name of Patty Wagon and her husband, who was a Major League Baseball player by the name of Don Rudolph. And they got married in 1955, and she had more years in her career, and he had a few more years in his career. And basically, I found this story in 1959 when I had my first pack of baseball cards. And on the back of the Don Rudolph card, well, on the back of the 59 Topps cards, they had a cartoon. Mm-hmm. And it was about the player. Well, this wasn't about the player. This was had a woman dancing on a table, And it was Patty. If you know, there's pictures of Patty. You can find them on the internet. And it was her picture, and or her drawing. And she's dancing at a table and leaning in, or no, she's kicking up her skirt. And the ball player is leaning in on the edge of the table, looking up her skirt. And it said, Dawn's wife is a professional dancer. Well, she wasn't just a professional dancer. She's one of the highest paid burlesque queens in the country, making 3 times what he made in Major League Baseball. And so we did the podcast, and we talked about making it, we needed music for it. So I wrote 2 songs, and Hannah Cooney, who played Patty in the podcast, it's a dramatization, obviously. We hired 24 actors is what we did, and produced it all. And Hannah sang both songs. And one is called The Choice. And the choice is about whether or not she should have an abortion. And she'd had many, and I don't know how many is, but she had them in her previous life before she got married. And the question was, would she continue with her career? Would she have a kid? Should she tell Dawn? And the choice is all about that. And then there's another song, which the name escapes me right now, which is a little more up-tempo and a little more fun. So those are the 2 songs I did write. And I wrote it with, I should say this, I wrote the lyrics. My good friend from high school, Dan Taguchi, who is a really great artist and was taught high school music for all of his career. He wrote the music for it. So there you have it.
You're very talented. Do you keep all this written down somewhere, or is it all bouncing around your head?
It's on my computer somewhere. Some of it's written down, but I'll never find out where it is.
I got you. All right. Well, so I want to make sure you get your little plug in. No, that's it. Not right. I want to make sure you get your plug in so that, especially for Australians.
Talk about that porn guy. Don't go there.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't. That's a different show. We'll have that. We'll have that Sportcat After Dark. I want to make sure everybody knows they want to find out how to get in touch with you. They can. If they want to buy your works, they can. Where can they find you online?
Well, several places. The easiest way is bobbrill.com. If you're interested in the books on Amazon and every place else too, but you can find it on my website, which is bobbrillbooks.com. So either one of those. And of course, the podcast, if you want to listen to that, is called majorleaguestripper.com. So, and I have some other websites too, but those are the 3. bobbrill.com, bobbrillbooks.com. And I suggest bobbrillbooks.com only because I know it's active and it's up to date and everything, because I use one of the better web servers. The other time falls into the cracks every once in a while. And that would be the easiest way. bobbrillbooks.com. You see all my books there, and there's a contact info there. You could just reach out to me. Okay.
Well, now you said you got number 17, I think, right? Coming out?
Yeah. Number 17 is that's the one I'm working on now.
Okay. Will you come back when you get it ready to go out?
Pick up the phone. I'll be there.
Okay. I will. And by the way, I want to go back to the comment there about the fawning fan. That's my normal co-host, Jen. She is on mommy duty at the moment. So
gotcha.
You and her are represented both by Mickey. So she's very talented. I miss her. She's going to be like, I shouldn't have been there. You wouldn't have had so many sports questions. Probably. So Bob, it was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure being here.
Is right around the corner, and I'm so looking forward to it. So I live for football. So.
Thank you so much. I'm not going to say that old cliche. Thank you for having me. I'm going to just say thanks. I enjoyed myself. You want me back again? Just pick up the phone and I'll be there.
Absolutely. No, it was a blast. I love it. So
I had a great time.
Yeah, we'll get you back on. Don't worry. You're going to be on my short list. So steal you from me. Depends. Well, never mind. I'm a paramedic firefighter. You got to be careful. So, Bob, have a great night.
I'll use that cliche.
Oh, well, thank you. Hey, I enjoyed every minute of it right till I was attacked on duty. But other than that, it was great. So, Chris says Bob needs to come back and talk sports and sports memorabilia. So
Oh, you got it.
We can do
we
that.
can do that all day long.
Yeah, we can. So
Hey, Chris, I just broke 4 boxes of the retail of Top Series 2 baseball. So I got some good stuff, but nothing great. Buy the hobby box.
Yeah, Mrs. Sportcat doesn't like those hobbies of mine anymore. So. Oh, what? Hey, one last question. Have you ever met Vinny Testaverde?
I watched his final college game. I was there as a reporter, covered it. So yes, in the locker room afterwards, the interviews.
All right, I should have got that question earlier. I got a great story about him, and I'm a lifelong fan. I know he sucked, but I was a lifelong fan of his after that. So, all right, Bob, have a great night. I'll shoot you a message, and we'll talk sports and other stuff. Talk to you soon.
You got it. See you next time.
All right, bye bye. Jen, you missed a great show. You should have been here. Everybody, hang on. I've got to push a couple buttons here. As you know, we always have 2 guests, and tonight's no exception. We had a problem going on air live in Australia earlier. I believe that is all fixed, so we should be live and on the air in Australia. I think we were earlier intermittently. I'm pretty sure there was some, I don't know. I don't know what the heck happened, but let me push a button here to stay legal, and then we'll be right back with our next guest. I got to find the button, though.
Broadcasting across Australia on Dare Media Group radio stations, this is the Sportcat Show, uncovering secret chapters, strange encounters,
and the occasional technical mishap.
Yeah, there's always the technical mishap. Everybody, welcome back to the Paranormal Guys, which is now the Sportcat Show. Hour 2 is going to be just as lit as hour 1. In case you missed it, make sure to go back and check it out online under the Sportcat Shows. And it'll be replayed on Dare Talk Radio in Australia. And of course, WZQR and WRFN, respectively. So we are live in Australia now. Welcome. I want to encourage everybody, come over and join our live chat. We've got a great chat here. Chris is here as always. My co-host is hiding in the background there online, so she's stalking me. But for hour number 2, as always, we have a really this is going to be a special interview because this young lady puts herself so hard into her work as a realtor, but she has such a great story, and she's been a lifetime advocate for a real worthy cause, one that is kind of special to me. So let me bring out Maria. Maria, I am not going to try and pronounce your last name because you'll be showing me. So,
Gallucci.
Gallucci. Okay. Welcome to the show. We're glad you're here. We obviously want to talk all about your book, but tell us a little bit about you first.
So I'm Maria Gallucci, and I'm a Colorado realtor, and I'm a CODA, which is a child of deaf adults. So I was raised by 2 deaf parents, and so ASL, which is American Sign Language, was my first language.
And prior to, well, hold on, let me rephrase that. Contrary to a lot of people's belief, that is incredibly difficult to learn.
Yes, in fact, I have a story about that. So I'm fluent in ASL. So it was my first language. And then I told my son when he was in high school, and he's a 4.0 student, straight A's. And I told him, like, well, just go ahead and take sign language as your second or your language that they have to take when you graduate, because, I can help you. We can ace it. And so we, were doing the test, and I was trying to help him answer the questions, and he got an F. And I'm like, there is no way that I just got my 4.0 student an F. And it was because it is hard to learn it, because I was thinking what I learned as a child, and because I learned obviously a long time ago versus what they're teaching is completely different. thank God the teacher let him redo it. So he still graduated with a 4.0 and 6 months early.
Well, that's funny because, yeah, like language, the nuances change. And there's also the dialect. Like I'm from the deep South and I go, hey, yeah, how y'all doing? There's probably no word for y'all or no sign for y'all, but it changes. And that would be incredibly difficult to keep up with. I mean, I have a hard enough time with redneck. Good Lord.
I should do a sign for you all. Y'all. I probably do that. Y'all.
I like it. I like it. I may clip that. I like
it. My sign for it.
So, but yeah, there's nuances. And it's kind of like if you let a computer read a book to you, it's just going to read it kind of blah, 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 blah. But you have to put emotions and stuff into it. So, in addition to the language changing. So yeah, it had to be incredibly difficult. So.
It was like a 180. I didn't even think, and I was surprised with my own self. I'm like, there's no way I did not pass this test, even though I helped him. I'm like, there's no way I did not do this. But I think that because sign language is so enhanced, and it's so you learn the body language, the expressions, and so it's very visual. And so if you don't I think that's how I learned to communicate. I still talk with my hands. Even I'm Italian anyway, so that double did it. But I think that even just talking with your hands and everything, that's what I've always done my entire life.
Yeah, funny story. Well, sort of funny. Paramedic firefighter. We get a call at like 3 a.m. and dead of winter. And of course, I come with an engine company. I'm on an ambulance, 2 of us, and there's 4 guys on an engine that go with me. And we knock on the door. It takes a few minutes for them to get to us. And they open the door, and it is so hot in this house. And I mean, and the firemen are, they just pulled on their turnout pants and they're half awake. And the TV is so loud. I mean, and there's this song like, I can't even, it's just like just a couple beats and it's just going on and it's so hot. And one of the firemen, he's like, God damn it, they're going to turn this TV down. And I look up, I'm still half awake and I see the guy on the screen going, no. He was the interpreter for the patient.
Oh, no. Oh my God.
I didn't realize the volume was so loud, obviously.
Yeah.
Just the button to turn it off. And I'm like, I'm not sure what just happened here. But
yeah, because they can't hear it, so they don't know that the volume's even up.
Yeah, but he was just on the screen going, no. He was fireman. Oh, what show this is? Like, no.
But it's got to mean something.
They're watching us. So it worked out. The patient was fine. We got the patient to the hospital. There was a little bit of a communication error there at the beginning, but luckily my 3 o'clock brain didn't go, what the hell just happened? I figured it out pretty quickly. But that was one of my first calls dealing with that. And usually they'll tell you on the, well, not on the phone, on the radio, they'll say, hey, you're going to have an interpreter, or we're going to call you on your phone and interpret for you because they have the keyboard. And it's usually you get a heads up, but we got nothing with this one. And it was 3 a.m. So, but luckily, like I said, everything was fine. So
they were all sleeping at 3 a.m.
Well, yeah, but be surprised. Paramedics.
They could have warned you in time.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, it was just something. It was like out of a slow motion horror movie. I mean, we open the door, we see the heat roll out, the volume is so loud, and we're like, why are we here again? Oh. But next shift, I actually taught a class to the entire crew. I was like, hey, look, we didn't do anything wrong because we didn't really know, but let's be better prepared going in. So we had a little in-service on it. So and that's the nice thing. It was a learning experience where nobody got hurt. And we look back at it and we laughed our asses off because we were like, we had to have looked like complete bozos going in there.
Like, what is going on? I know. And that's what, like, I think the book is about and everything is like having access to your own communication, because you guys didn't even know that that was even happening, which everyone should know. Like, hey,
Sure.
there's going to be an interpreter there. There's going to be somebody there that's going to help out the patient that you have.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know how it really worked. They obviously had to have a cam like this, and they were signing back and forth to the person on the TV.
They do.
I'm not sure if maybe they were supposed to speak back to us, or I'm not sure how it actually was going to work. It ended up working through dispatch, because once we figured out what was going on, and we just turned it off. but it ended up
We're
working
here
out.
to be safe.
Yeah, and everybody, trust us. It's like we're from the government. We're here to help you. So, but no, and so it does. And a cousin of mine, is that right? My cousin, she is not fully deaf, but partially deaf, and her parents were very rural. Didn't have a lot of money. The high school system didn't really teach anything in that rural county, and I have seen growing up, she's a little bit younger than me, probably maybe 10 years. I don't know, maybe not that much, but I've seen growing up the difficulties she's had. She's not fully deaf, but just trying to communicate. And I think to myself, gosh, when she was younger, if only there had been an certain I mean, she can talk like me and you. It's different talk,
It's different,
but there's certain things that she can't say. And it's like asking her, well, as a paramedic, because she's sick, I'll say, well, does something hurt? And it's always her head. It may be her stomach, but it's always her head, because there's that disconnect. And I wish, and it's becoming more common, but I still don't think it's common enough. I really, like you said, as a second language, that would be perfect. I mean, granted, we should learn Spanish, or my high school graduated with 13 different languages, and I spoke redneck. I don't know what the hell happened, but I think it should be a better option, and it's not. Why is that?
Oh, it should, because I don't think that a lot of people realize that it's actually a language, because ASL is a language. Like they don't speak clearly, and so the ASL, or American Sign Language. Obviously, every country has their own sign, and so but for us out here, like it's their language. And so I think that when I was a kid, I was the only high school in our little area that had an ASL classes. And so, but now almost every high school here offers it now. So I think that we've actually come through the times to make it accessible and things like that. But back then it was 100% not. And so people were thinking, well, that we're different because we know sign language and we know ASL. And so that we were looked at as the outcasts, but in general, it was just our language.
Yeah. You're in Colorado, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, here in the South, I can speak for I can speak for Georgia and Tennessee, because I went to high school in Virginia, and it was kind of there. But Tennessee and Georgia, where my kids have both went to school, no. My kids are grown now. Maybe they have, but I don't recall seeing it. And so, as a adult child, having been raised in silence and having to learn that language, has that enhanced any of your other abilities? I mean, I'm not talking like you're psychic or anything like that. I mean, I'm talking you're more aware, I guess, because you're more visual. Have you noticed that?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that it has, it's taught me resilience, and to listen, because when you sign, you're signing. And so you have to look at them, and you've got to engage with them, which I feel like us as hearing people, which I'm bad at it as well. It's we're looking at our phones, we're thinking about the next question that what we're going to ask, or we're thinking about the next answer we're going to do. So for me, when you sign, you are engaging in that conversation, or the conversation. And then so for me, I've always been in counseling because I've always stuttered my entire life. So I've always had a stuttering issue. And so I've always learned at the beginning that you've got to just take a step back and just listen and be patient to see what the other person's needs and wants are.
Okay. Do you find yourself, this is probably a stupid question, do you find yourself making more of like an eye contact, or you're watching for the hands? Because naturally, having grown up around it, somebody like me that's always
Yeah. No, 100%. So I still, to this day, cannot talk to people with sunglasses. I mean, I obviously can, but I'd rather not talk to people with sunglasses on, because I've got to see their emotions and their facial expressions, because that's what sign is all about. It's about your body language, your emotions, your expressions. So for me, I still can't even communicate properly if someone has like sunglasses on.
I can understand that. Yeah. Because it's kind of like the gateway to the soul. I mean,
yeah.
Honestly.
And you're supposed to always look at people when you talk to them. Look in their eyes.
Right. That's right.
It's respect, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I don't want, you may not want to say this. Do you have children?
I do. Yes.
Now, since your parents were both deaf, were you worried that this was a genetic trait, or I don't know how that works. So I hope I'm not being offensive.
Oh gosh, not at all. But it actually coincidentally is. So my mom was, she was not born deaf. So my dad was. And so my mom had the chickenpox and the measles, I believe, at the same time at 9 months. So she was basically deaf her entire life. But my dad was born deaf. And so but the only deaf person in his like gene line was an uncle. But so we have long QT, which is a heart condition, which coincidentally is the same gene as the deaf gene. And so half of us have that. So I think that my dad genetically had it. And so we brought it down to us.
Okay. Yeah, I know. As soon as you said that, I knew exactly what paramedic. I knew exactly what that was. Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's fascinating.
Yeah. It's the same gene.
Yeah. There's got to be a yeah. Yeah. We talk about with science and technology and stuff changing. Do you think they could change that in the future?
The deaf gene or the long QT?
Probably
or both.
Yeah, probably both. Yeah.
So I think that my daughter and my sister and my nieces are on the beta blockers because of the long QT. I'm supposed to be on it, but I'm not, because I'm like against. I know everyone yells at me, but because I'm like, I try not to do medicines, and I think that for the long QT, we have the gene, but if we don't have any symptoms. But I do know that if and as a paramedic, like if it comes into play, like it's done. But so for me, I haven't taken the beta blockers yet, but I do think that it is. I don't know if you can fix that though. I think you can fix the deafness part, because you can have the implants and do the things like that. But I don't know if you can fix the heart.
Yeah, I don't know. With technology, it's hard to say. And as we were just discussing with a previous author, there could be a humanoid robot that replaces us altogether one day. So. Yeah,
exactly. So who knows? And why is like my sister's on it, because I mean they're all, and my daughter and my granddaughter too. Actually, now that I think of it, but are on the beta blockers. But how do we know that that's actually working?
No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So
and then the worst part is, how do you know what it's going to do 20 years from now?
Exactly. And that's why I try to avoid trying to take the medicines. Obviously people need medicines for because my mom had epilepsy, so she needed 2 different pills for that. But I mean, could have there been another way to redo that part of it?
It's funny you say that. One of my friends was in the military and had epilepsy, And of course, being in the military, you're a guinea pig, I guess.
Yeah.
And they did an experimental surgery where they basically went in and burnt certain synapses in his brain. And he has not had a seizure since
See,
then.
that's my
Yeah.
point. Like there could be like other stuff that, and then my mom died in her 40s of cancer, and it was melanoma. So maybe this isn't like, maybe it wasn't connected, but were the medicines that she was taking for the epilepsy cause of that? Like we never know. Like you just don't know what the pills that you take cause the other.
Yeah. And doctors are so quick now. Oh, there's a pill for this. There's a pill for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I collect medical textbooks, and I found a really old one from like the 40s, and the foreword was written, and it talked about how from this book forward, medicine is no longer being taught to cure. We're being taught to diagnose and treat, because there's so many patients now. We can't spend the time with each one to cure them. So here's a pill next. And I was like, there was a shift, and I've worked with many doctors as a paramedic. I've worked in hospitals, I've worked in doctors' offices, flight paramedic. I've been in all aspects of it and talked to them about it. And it's funny how each doctor has their own little opinion on it. I took a patient in one night to Emory, a hospital here in Atlanta, and the patient was having a heart attack. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And so I tell the cardiologist, it's this teaching school, and there was three, I don't know the level, intern, whatever. They're not real doctors yet. They're like one piece of paper away from being a doctor. And they're standing over in the nurse's station, and they're arguing about, is this kind of heart attack? Is this kind of, they're going back and forth. And I knew who their teacher was. I don't know their technical names. The professor, he was the head professor. He was watching them, and he was watching me. He could see I was getting very frustrated. And so finally I just kind of jerked the EKG out of their hands and said, "Doc, I don't care what you call it, but if you don't treat it, she's going to die." And the look on their face was like I had just slapped them with cold water. And the professor was smirking. And one of them went to pipe off to me. He said, "You need to get in the room and you need to listen to the paramedic, because 1, he's giving you a diagnostic tool. 2, he's seen the patient. And 3, he's not going to argue with you. He's going to push you in that room. You might want to go."
Yeah, exactly. Like you need to go fix them. And no, and I think that a lot of people don't realize they just want to put a label on it,
Sure.
just so they can do it. But sometimes it's bigger than that, and you have to figure out what it is.
Yeah. Do you think some people look at people with hearing impairments as if they, and I'm not trying to say this to be mean, but if they have some type of disability and they kind of cast their eyes and look somewhere else, or?
I feel like that happens a lot. So I feel like a lot of people want to fix them, and they don't need to be fixed. All they want to be is someone like us, and they are. And so, and I think that that's such a big misconception of the deaf and hard of hearing community, because all they want to do is just feel seen, heard, and understood. And I feel like a lot of us are we don't know the unknown. And so a lot of us are afraid of the unknown. And so we just don't try. And so for me, that's why that's always been my motto of just try, just try with them. Even if you don't know how to speak ASL, you don't know how to speak sign language, how about you just type something on your phone and show it to them? And just the effort that you're trying, I think, makes a huge impact on them.
I do too. I teach, I taught paramedic and EMT students. And one thing I always taught them is, and I'm just going to use the people who have alcohol, drug addictions, mental impairments, they get sick too, and they're people. We don't care I don't care if you got $1 or $1 million. I don't care if you're the world's prettiest woman in the world or the world's most hideous. I'm here to treat you, and none of that matters. And it's hard to teach a person. It's also hard to teach a person when to touch another person. As a paramedic, we're touchy-feely. And that is a hard skill to teach, because I got to get right up in your space. I got to get personal, and you're trying to use your hands, and I'm trying to get in, and I need your blood pressure. I'm going to start an IV, and now I've basically handicapped you because I'm taking one of your arms.
No, exactly. And that's how it is with ASL though, too, because we're very touchy-feely, because obviously if they're not looking at you, you have to touch them, like to turn around. And so for us, like we're very like, and I'm a hugger. I'm a huge hugger. And I think that's because like, that's just our culture. Like we just like to feel in touch, because you do lose like senses. And so you've got to recoup all the other ones for it. And I think ours is touchy-feely.
No, and that's what I meant earlier. I was like, do you have enhanced smelling, or see at night like a bat, or no, just kidding. So,
perfume all over.
So, that's just because I stink. But so when as soon as you went through life, you've decided now you're this huge, mega successful realtor. How difficult was it to make the transition to, you are out in public now? I mean, you're meeting new people every day, and you're going into scary people's houses, and
Yeah, I think that was like a huge like cultural shock, I think, because we were just with like my parents and then us 6 siblings. So we were always like, and we still are like a very tight knit community. And I think that once like you get out of that, you have to get out of your comfort zone. And I'm shy in nature. And so like for me, like all of this has been like really out of my comfort zone, I should say. But I think that I feel so blessed and so happy that I'm able to help people be able to get into their homes or sell their houses in their own language, so they understand what's going on instead of just being lost in the transaction.
how does I'm not sure how your area, but here in Atlanta, we're a mixing bowl with, I couldn't even tell you how many different languages. Understood from a police officer, their new body cams translate like 50 some languages. How does that work with the sign language as well?
So we don't have that yet, which would be amazing. But the only thing that we have is just like Crazilla is one of like the main like apps that they use if you have a hearing person and a deaf person. But I think that's why it's so special to have like a realtor who's fluent in ASL, because then you're actually speaking their language, and you know the culture too, because the deaf culture is very like specific and I feel like important, because you have to know like what they want in a house. You have to know what they would like in the house, and the only way you would know that is if you were actually within the deaf and hard of hearing community.
Yeah, in the community is, and I hope I'm not asking any too stupid or offending questions, but I want to educate everybody. Is there specific things they look for in homes and cars, day-to-day life?
There is, because we call it a deaf friendly home. So the kitchen's always open to either the dining room or the living room. So when they're like cooking or whatever you're doing, you can actually communicate on the other side. So it's got to be like an open area. And so that's very, very important. And I think for driving and stuff, the lights on the side, which they didn't have back then, but yeah, the lights on the what's it called? The mirrors. Yeah. So yeah. So the lights on those are so important, because you can see that someone's coming. Not that that's always correct, but at least it gives them some awareness that somebody's right there.
That's true. That's true. I know in my world, there's a new siren. Well, it's not too new, but there's a siren out called the Growler. and it's got a speaker on the fire truck, ambulance, police car, whatever, that's aimed down at the ground, and it produces this low, deep rumbling. We really can't hear it. You can feel it, and that's to let anybody know in front of you that could have a hearing impairment, because they may not see the lights. They definitely may not hear the sirens, but that is designed specifically for that. Had you heard of that?
No, I have never heard of that, and that's awesome because, like, I always have what I call the Uptown Party, which is like my client appreciation party every year, and so they love coming to that. I have like usually like 200 people show up to like deaf and hard of hearing people show up, and they love to dance, because they can feel the music, like they can actually feel the beat. So that makes complete sense that they would make sense something like that, because when my sister, my youngest one, we're 6 years apart, but we always had the blinking light. So I always remember when Rose would cry, like the lights would like go off and like blink and blink and blink. So like a lot of our stories are from like the lights blinking, but to feel that is like an amazing like thing. I never even heard of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's called a growler. It's not really new, but they're still working on the technology. And the best way I can describe it is you'll still hear the siren, but it's almost like there's an echo that's deeper. It's kind of really, I'm sure you could probably go online and find a sample of it or something. Well, I don't know if you can do that, but it's really cool. In fact, in your area, I know you're an advocate. Push that for the emergency services.
Yeah,
because I don't know that everybody knows about it.
No, I'm like I'm in all I'm so tight in that community. I haven't heard of that. That's awesome. But I do remember one time when I was a kid, my dad put an alarm on our door, and so it would chirp every time the door opened, and so no lights, just chirp. And I was thinking, okay, like you can't hear the chirp, so how do you like? So I think he did it to scare us, like because he couldn't hear the chirp, but it sounded like a bird.
Yeah, that's one of the worst noises I hear. We would go on calls, and you've had a smoke detector where the battery goes, and it starts beeping every minute or whatever, and that is the most annoying noise to me in the entire world. And it just hit me while you were saying, I was like, gosh, how the hell would they know? And
exactly. And they wouldn't though. That's like the point. And so I think my dad literally just put that there to make us think that they can like see us if we sneak out, which we still snuck out because we knew that no lights were turning on. And so, but no, for us, it was all the lights. Even when the phone rang, the lights would like go on and on.
Yeah. I know. For codes, we have to have instead of fire alarms. Of course, now they've made them to where you can feel them. I don't know if you're aware of that technology. They've moved the speaker from up high down to lower. And they have the flashing up high, so you'll feel it down here. I mean, you can still hear it like a fire alarm, but you can feel it. So we have that technology. But yeah, and I never thought about that, like an alarm clock. How the heck what do you use for an alarm clock? And by the way, I need to apologize. I keep saying they, and I'm not trying to be whatever the term would be bad. So I'm not.
Oh, no.
Okay. So what do they use for an alarm clock?
It was blinking lights. But like now that you're saying all that, like the vibration makes so much sense, because what if they were sleeping and their eyes are closed, so they don't see like the blinking lights. So for me, like that's a amazing invention to have something like vibrate, because then they can feel it instead of like seeing it.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's a different kind of speaker or buzzer, but used to, they were up high because they always thought that it's going to ruin our ears, so we got to put it up high. Well, there's probably still one up high, but maybe not everyone, but they've moved them down, and it's a different thing. So you can literally feel it. I mean, when we've went into commercial buildings when they're going off, or hotels, you can see the lights. And you do know that they had to change the colors on the emergency exit line lights going out into buildings, because when they flash, you can't always see it. And the colors of them used to be a red exit sign. Now they're changing them to green, because so many people have been trained their entire life. Red means stop.
Red means stop. Oh
And
my
when
gosh, I never thought about that. That's such a good thought.
Yeah, and when they were flashing, they wouldn't stay visible and long enough in the smoke conditions test to be seen. And green is actually brighter. So
yeah,
God
so
knows what happens if you're colorblind, you're screwed. But yeah,
I know, right? But look, this is how far technology has come. Because that's not how it was back in the day.
No, it wasn't. And I love things like that. But but not everybody knows about it. So
yeah, no, I didn't know that either.
Hopefully I'm sharing something you can teach to
you are like, this is amazing. Yeah, like you tell me a few good things that I need to look into.
Trying. Aside from the open air houses in your part of the country, you get a lot of snow. How does that factor in with any of this?
So we didn't this winter. It's been like over 100 degrees. Like we barely had any winter. I think we had 2 snowstorms like this entire winter, but usually it's pretty snowy. So they can ski. In fact, it's so funny that they said that, because I was talking to somebody yesterday who was saying that they had a friend who was deaf and they loved skiing. And so they were thinking to their own selves as a child, like, how can you ski? Because you can't go down the mountain, but all you need is just your feelings and your sight to go down the mountain. So I think a lot of them love to ski, and they can ski very well because they can feel it, and they can see like what the path is like.
And the feeling of the wind. I mean, it's cold.
If the wind stops, you're in trouble. Like, stop.
Yeah.
There's no snow, you're in big trouble. Do not go there.
Yeah. Do not try and snow down or ski down mud.
Yeah.
That would be bad. What so tell us, I mean, I love your story. I want to make sure that everybody understands the premise of your book. Because like I said, this to me means so much.
So my book is more about, I think people often assume that it's for the deaf and hard of hearing community, but it's really about people. And so it's about learning and listening beyond words, and seeing people for who they are. And then also we're realizing that every part of us, a lot of people are misunderstood at some point and feel like outsiders. And I think that my journey just happens to go through the lens of growing up with deaf parents. And I think that it just shows people how to be inclusive and how to make people feel like they belong in their own safe space.
Okay. One of the things you talked about in your book is family dinners aren't always quiet. That
is true. So there's 6 of us kids. And I told my parents the only reason why you have 6 kids is because you're deaf. Because there'd be no way you have 6 hearing kids. And that's a joke, everybody, if you do have 6 kids. But and so I think that for us, like I always say that we were never in trouble, but we really were. But we were in silent trouble. And so, because like my brother and I would be like in both corners we would be like talking back and forth between the corners and everything. So for us, I think that we were able to tease each other at the dinner table and like throw food at each other, and our parents would never know unless they were actually turning around and looking at us. So for us, it was like a little getaway.
That's great. Now, when you're angry, does the sign language get more violent or expressive?
It does, because like I knew when my dad was mad. And so like, because he would sign like, because we read on expressions. And so for us, we can feel each other's like tone of our bodies, our expressions and everything. And so when my dad would be upset, he'd be signing like obviously like harder and tell us that he's mad. So that would like make sense. And so so I think that us learning the instruction and the a language of the body and everything like that made us more better at listening, actually, because when we knew our parents were mad, we're like, okay, we got better be good. But I think that's every culture. Like, you're in trouble, be good.
If they call you by your middle name, you're screwed. So.
Oh yeah.
or if you see a flip flop go flying by, you could have done something wrong. Fine.
You're in big trouble if you see that.
That may be a Southern thing. I don't know, but in
Colorado, there's no flip flops.
That's and.
Well, I mean, there probably are, but no, I don't know.
Yeah, not
boots, a boot slang. It's a boot slang.
I don't think I want to get hit with a cowboy boot. You'd learn your lesson pretty quick. Yeah. One of the things prepubescent young people, the first thing they want to know is in a foreign language, what's a dirty word? Do people come up to you and go, all right, so give me some dirty words in sign language?
Always. Yeah, always. So even when we were a kid, and my dad taught me them. Do you want to know them? Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, well, don't say that. Well, I mean, you can mouth them, but don't say them because we're on FM. Okay.
Can you guess what that one is?
No. I can't look you in the eye and say what I'm thinking. So
that's one, and then those are the two that my dad taught me.
Okay. I might have to take this off the air and have a different conversation. My prepubescent Glenn is coming out after that. I can't look at her after she did that. I can't.
It starts with an S, H.
Oh, okay. I went somewhere else with it, but hey, that's okay.
So the main things. So see, it doesn't matter what language you have.
Well, and so here I'm going to point out. You say you're shy. You are not shy. You're gorgeous. You're hilarious. You're outgoing. You're great. So no, you're not shy, and I don't think you could be doing your job because, like you said, you go into strange people's houses like we do, and trust me, some of these people are pretty strange. So.
Oh, yeah, and there's a lot of houses that I go through, and I'm thinking, how does this happen?
Yeah. Like, have you ever thought about a trash can? Just
yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Hoarders is a real thing.
Mm-hmm. It is a real thing, yeah. And it's more than you think. And I think that I might be a hoarder, but I'm not really a hoarder, but I might be one because I don't want to give up my lipstick. And so I'm thinking I love this color and I know I haven't used it for a year, but I love it. And so am I a hoarder too? Because I would just collect all these eyeshadows or lipsticks.
See here, I think you can use it as a tax write-off because you need to be more verbal because
That's
of your past history, and so a brighter color is fire and ice. Maybe I'm not sure what the color is.
No, that's a great idea. I'll have to ask my accountant.
There you go. Right off.
An idea.
So, well, you can say, "Hey, look, they argue with me. I got the ADA with me." Don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Whenever you say that, everybody's like,
"Hey, it sounds my first language. I thought it was a tax write-off."
That's right. Your husband may disagree if he opens the door and the cabinet
all the lipsticks falls out.
Yeah, he's got these little marks all over him.
That would be a good Instagram post.
He's got his little red here, here.
Oh my god, that'd be awesome.
Oh God. So this is the only book you've written so far. Have you got something else in mind you want to write?
Yes.
Or?
So I've been contemplating it. So I've been thinking about making it more business and like leadership focused on how to be more inclusive in the work environment and just people in general. So I've been thinking about it. So maybe.
Okay. Well, I guess until maybe you retire, which is a long time away for you, you got to be careful because you're a public profile. If you say something, I mean, just like me, if I say something too stupid, which I'm liable to at any moment, somebody's going to feel some kind of way, and then they at you, and it's a so I guess I mean leadership in what from your point of view is totally different because you've had to learn the skill of not only watching their lips, what they're saying, their expression, their entire body language, and you can also feel, like you were talking about, your emotions. So leadership for you would have to be totally different than somebody like, for me, I'll just come across with like a comedic type of way about it. But for someone like you would approach it not more professionally, obviously, but from a different point of view where you can look at somebody and see that's the one right there that's going to be the good manager, or that's the one that's going to be the good salesperson, because you've learned how to read people.
Yeah, and I feel like for me, leadership is more about connection, like human connection more than, and I mean, I have to admit, I'm a softie, so I have the softest heart in the world, and so I don't know, that is probably a negative aspect of like business side of it, but for me, like leadership to me comes across as you want to help somebody and you want to make them a better person, and you never want to make everybody feel like they're less than or beneath. And so for me, that's how I think a leader should be.
Absolutely. We're all
equal. But that's my own opinion. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I can see where the softie might come out and be a bad thing, but sometimes you gotta, I don't know, what's the best way of saying is turn it off, flip it, switch. And because even in my end, I had to be nice, but at some point in time, if I'm getting, I don't want to say abused, but I'm being treated like I'm a jerk, I'm like, okay, why am I here now? I mean, I can be a jerk just back at you. I mean, but you have to have that. So it's like, in order to be a good paramedic, you have to be able to get into somebody's home, make them feel comfortable with you, get down on their level, and talk their language. So with you, as far as sales, and I know you were talking about the community, it's a lot the same way because of those skills you've learned. And have you ever had any, I don't recall negative, but any bad experiences dealing with stuff like this?
I think, well, growing up, we were always made fun of. So I was made fun of basically my entire life. And so they always outed us as the outcast because we were different. And everyone, but I think that people don't realize that all of us are different. None of us are one and the same. And I think that you don't have to be perfect, but if you just try to make them feel like they're somebody, it makes a huge difference in their lives. And I feel like it starts with us as parents, as people. And so I think that we're the ones who have to teach people to do that, and teach our own selves, and to teach people who we're around to make people feel like they belong somewhere. And I think that's like the huge negative that I took from it. But I also took it as a strength because it shaped who I am today. And I wouldn't be the person I am today without that stuff, because it made me have more empathy, resilience, and understanding for people. And so I think it 100% shaped who I was today.
Good. And one of your mottos is just try.
Yes.
Is that where that comes from?
Yeah, it is, because I think that if you don't have to know everything, and none of us do. We always wish that we do, but we don't. And so you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be willing. You just have to be willing to do the first step for someone into understanding that there's someone else. It's not just you. And so that one small effort that you make to just try with them can change their entire path and their lives and their day that day.
Absolutely. Make them smile.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Exactly.
a smile. Yeah, just
Yeah.
a smile. So have you started on any of these other projects that you've got in mind, Jed, or are these just still kind of rattling around? You're so busy
Still
doing.
rattling around in my head. So I'm still thinking about it. Yeah. It's all in there. Like, I mean, but this one took me 15 years. Obviously, I'm not going to take that long this time, but I mean, it took me a long time to feel comfortable enough, I feel like, because it's a vulnerable state that you're putting yourself in, especially when you're.
To say, yeah, that's kind of, you really opened yourself up, and like you said, growing up as a child, people made fun of you, so you really exposed yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And especially like from a child who like, and as an adult who stutters as well, like I know that I'm hard on my own self. Like I try not to listen to my stuff because I know that I'm stuttering through there. And I know that that's like a fault to my own, like it's my own stuff, not everyone else. But I think that it's hard to put yourself in that situation, but it also grows you and it also like makes you stronger.
Do you have like for me, I have an inner voice sometimes. Sometimes it says, like it's going to be a bad day. It's going to, the self-talk. Do you have a self-talk too?
I do. And I've had that the last couple days actually. And so I always had to tell myself, no, Maria, like it's okay. It's going to be okay. But it's hard to get yourself in that mindset. And so you have to train yourself, and you have to like not listen to the negative stuff that's out there and think that it's going to be okay. You know what I mean? Because I have children who struggle from mental health issues. And I feel like I try so hard not to say tomorrow is going to be better, even though I want to say that, but like you have to process it within your own self. And then I always just say like, it's going to be okay. Just like retrain your thought and retrain your brain.
Yeah, you can. The neural pathways, it's true. You can retrain them. But that self-talk, it can be your own worst enemy. And
oh yeah.
All right, one more stupid question, then I'm going to ask you about some paranormal stuff. I suffer, and I don't know if it's because of the sirens and jets and all this. I have a constant ringing in my ear called tinnitus. It rings.
Tinnitus, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. What she said.
Yeah.
Does someone that can't hear it all have something like that?
It depends on their hearing loss. And so I did a study in high school, actually. It was like, how you do like the senior project or whatever. So I did one on blind people and deaf and hard of hearing people. And so deaf people, well, as far as the ones that I interviewed, they can actually hear in their dreams. And then so the blind people can actually see colors and see things in their dreams. And so for me, I feel like a lot of people suffer from that, especially if they're hard of hearing too, because you're kind of in the middle of the deaf like world and the hearing world. So I think that it creates more of a tinnitus situation. Of course, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know for sure, but that's how I feel.
Neither am I. I just played one on the street. So. I used to just. Oh, never mind. What's another conversation? All right, so you can get me in trouble here. I want to ask you about the paranormal. Have you ever had an experience or seen a Bigfoot or anything in your life with anything paranormal?
So I have. So I swear our house growing up was haunted. It was like the Amityville Horror. And so I slept on the the top bunk of, so my sister and I always slept on the bottom and top bunk. And so I slept on the top bunk. And one night, and I always remember my dreams. And I know like not everyone does, but I always have. And so the song by Sting, I think it was the Something Comes Out at Night, or do you know what song I'm talking about?
Oh, something. Gosh,
It was the Police, maybe. Like, I don't know what it was, but that song was like coming up. And this black thing, like I saw it on the corner of the room, and it like came through and it went up the stairs of the bed frame and went over me. And I have the paralysis. They call it like a
sleep paralysis. Yeah.
Yeah, I get those often actually. And so I have that. And I was in that state while this thing was like floating over me. It was so scary. Oh my God, what's that song? I'm like, I literally can't think of it. It was like, it was a Police song or something, but.
I'm trying. As a DJ, I should know this. Every breath you take. No, it's the Police. No,
it's the one like where they like, I don't know. It's a scary one, but I had that song in my head at the same time.
You have to message me when you remember it.
I'll be like, when I remember that song. Oh yeah, I can't remember it.
That is weird. Because a lot of times people recall seeing things, corner shadows out of their corner of their eyes, and then it'll come up in front of them or over them, and then some people will report that they'll wake up and things are like right here. With the sleep paralysis, you can't do anything.
Like that.
I was out camping in the woods, and there was an entity outside in the tent or outside of the tent. I don't know what the hell it was, but I was in sleep paralysis and I was wide awake, and everything inside of my tent was lit up like daylight. But it was like 2 a.m. It was it was late at night out there, and I couldn't do anything. That was the most terrifying thing.
I know, especially when you're in that state, because you literally can't do anything because you're frozen. And so you just have to like wait until, and then you're in a dream within a dream. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then so you're trying to wake yourself up within that dream, but you're trying to wake yourself up in real life, and it just like does not work.
Yeah, and you make this horrible noise. I found that out while camping because there was people outside of my tent with lights and guns pointed at my tent. I don't know what's in there, but you better come out, Glenn.
There's just a ghost. Don't worry about me.
Don't shoot. So, I have had a blast with you. You are not shy. You've educated a lot of people. If anybody wants to get your stuff, and remember, we're live in Australia. You have an international audience. Where can they find you? Where can they get you?
So for the real estate, it's galluccihomes.com. And then my book is on Amazon and all the book outlets. And it also has its own website, which is raisedinsilence.com.
Okay. All right. Well, all of that will be in the show notes. And of course, obviously, this will be saved on the YouTube. So if anybody wants to get in touch with you, it'll be in there. Maria, it has been, this hour has actually flown by. I've had so many laughs with you. I've enjoyed it. I would like for you to come back, whether it takes you 15 years or not, to write your next book. So.
It's not going to take that long.
Okay. I'm going to hold you to that. So, but I would love to have you back. And if you think of any really cool stories for us next time, like maybe you sold the...
I'm going to find out that song. I'm going to text you that song.
Okay, that's fine. I'll say, email me or I'll shoot you my phone number. You can text me, either one. So yeah, that's fine. You can listen to me if you want. I am a DJ Tuesdays and Thursdays on the Thin Line Rock Station, which is a station just for public safety and first responders. So it's an internet radio station. So I tell you what, send me the song and I will dedicate it and get it out to you next week. How about that?
Okay, perfect.
I love it. All right, Maria, thank you for your time. You've been a jewel. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Love
I
you
want
guys.
you to, I love you too. I want you to come back. We'll talk to you soon, Maria.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Gosh, that was great. And that was the wrong button I just pushed, but that's all right. You're listening on the radio. You didn't know that. Come over to the Sportcat shows, like, follow, share, and subscribe. It helps us over here. And remember, we are here every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. with 2 guests. Next week, my beautiful and lovely sidekick will be back, Jen. So you will be able to enjoy the show better. You won't have to just put up with me. And of course, you can catch Brenda and I Tuesdays and Thursdays, noon till 2 here on the Thin Line Rock Station. And of course, Dare Talk Radio. Everybody have a great night. Thank you for tuning in. And check the notes if you want to get in touch with any of the guests. We'll have it in there. We will talk to you soon. I'm getting the heck out of here.
We have a 138.